Hey yo. So, I'm a little new to the DDO content creator scene, but my name's Zento, or Zentombed, and I mainly play one character for the most part. I've been stuck on this one character for a long time. I've been playing since about 2006, but I have a few alts, and recently I've been just having so much fun with this build, and I thought I'd throw it out there on YouTube, see if other people like it, would make some changes to it. I know it's probably not the most ideal build, but I really kind of found the way that I like to play it, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. So, uh, Shadar-kai Chainz. I cannot tell you how much fun I have with these. Ever since they changed him around and made him the 3 AoE hits, it's like energy burst for melees. I love it. And personally, I solo a lot, and I really like having characters that are hybrids. Characters that have some healing, some spell damage, some melee damage, and this build just hits all of those spots really, really well. So, thought I'd show you real quick. I am pure Bard, level 20 levels of Bard, and for the most part, I'm in Fate Singer. We'll go through the character sheet first. This is all Charisma. You use Charisma to hit and damage on everything in this build. I'm standing at 94. Technically, this is actually 92 because I have one of those Remnant pots going for +2 Charisma, and if I do sing my song to myself, just standing, I should have about 96. Yeah, 96 Charisma. So it does pretty good. You have a lot of base stats behind your build. Now, this build does have Racial Completionist with it. This is a little bit higher end. I also have Heroic Completionist. I don't have all of the past lives yet. I'm missing a few epics and quite a few iconics. I think I have all my Shadar-kais done, and I have all of my Tiefling Scoundrels done. But I do have Racial Completionist, which kind of helps this build shine a little bit more, because you do get all those free racial points for the extra chain attack. Um, but overall, the whole point behind this build was to be a high CC with a splash of melee damage and healing. And as you've probably seen in the previous video where I went through Grim and Barret and R4, it does really well. It solos really nicely. It has a lot of CC and control between Hold Monster and Color Spray. One of the things I need to get better about using, that I'm awful, but I'm working on it. Cut the Strings is really good. It's really, really good. It's like an AoE around yourself, and is all the normal monsters and stuff get hit, and then you use the chain attack every time, or when you hit them with the chain attack. Most of the time, it just insta kills them. If not, it does way, way more sonic damage on hit, which is great. This build does a lot of sonic damage on hit because it has the filigree set that adds sonic damage, and you also end up taking the epic feat. Let's see. Sign of the Feywild for some more sonic damage on hit and stuff. Now, you could play this character as like a spellcaster, and it would probably work just as well. You'd probably get a little bit more support. But with the chains, what I do is I walk into those big groups, I throw the chain attack, and I get that offhand versatility proc. That offhand versatility proc is really important because it makes the next 5 seconds, you get all your spells crit. That includes duration spells and stuff like Renew. That includes Rejuve Cocoon, Horn of Thunder I was using. The really big heal out of, what is it? Primal Avatar. Reborn in Fire. That also crits. And it heals for like 1,600 in R6. It's great. I love it. It gives you such a good level of survivability because you can apply those heals over time and keep fighting and not have to worry about the self-healing as much, which is a lot of times the big problem with people soloing or doing Reaper. As I've gone over, the kind of key of this build, or the way I like to run it, is you run into a group, you throw your mass hold or your color spray, and you freeze everything. If you can run in and get the rapid slash attack, because I actually end up using Vistani in this build. I have so many trees open here. Let me get this in a spot where you guys can see it. I use Vistani in this build. It gives you deflect arrows, which is really nice. Quick draw as well, and a lot of double strike. I also use the single dagger for the 20 melee power, and this is where I get my competence bonus to crit threat range and multiplier. This is kind of where all your melee damage comes from. If you weren't going Vistani, which I recommend Vistani for this build because the Gold Curse Dagger procs all the time. All the time. I underestimated that weapon so much. It procs on Reapers. I've gotten despairs with it. It hits everything. It is a godsend. I love the Gold Curse Dagger at high end. But if you didn't want to do Vistani, or if you wanted to maybe focus more towards the melee damage and not have as much of the CC, because most of the Spellslinger tree is just for DCs. I didn't even pick up, the only SLA I picked up is Horn of Thunder, which you do see me using because you get that 5 seconds of spell crit. You have everything held and you just throw that Horn of Thunder through. It does 2,000-3,000 damage on the electric and the sonic side. So it's a great spell. I don't even have all the spell power for this. But I love abusing that spell crit on things that are helpless. It's such a good feeling. But you're also really supportive because you have the restoring spell points as well as the healing song. So it's a very supportive build where you don't necessarily have to be around your teammates to help them. You can give them a song, let them run off, and they will heal up over time. Maybe not the best, but hey, what are you going to do? This is really good for soloing, though. I really, really like it because it helps offset the mana costs. You're not going to be casting a ton of spells because most of them are utility, either buffs, healing, or CC. So you don't usually run out of spell points too often. But if you do, the spell song does help with that quite a bit. On another note, another big part of this build is the charisma to hit and damage out of Fey Dark Illusionist. I would highly suggest this. If you do end up going swashbuckling, you can pick up the charisma to hit here, and you can pick up the charisma to damage out of swashbuckling if you were, say, using a hand axe or something. But with the way I have it, this is where I get my charisma to hit and damage, and I also get magic missile immunity. You could probably pick up Night Shield out of epics. Shadow Dancer, I think, has a tier 1 that's Night Shield. I can't even see it because the trees won't let me. But that's another option just for magic missile immunity. But it just fit well here, and I that's why I ended up using. Color Spray is just so strong. God, I love Color Spray. The fact that it blinds stuff is really, really powerful for crowd control. You don't really realize it until you start making more use of it in the higher levels, because having that weird, like, Hero Soul champ or something walk up on you, and you Color Spray it, and it doesn't get held, but it blinds it, and it misses its next 3 shots on you, it's as if you held it basically anyways, you just don't get the bonus damage. You're still alive, and that's the biggest key. As long as you're alive, you can still do damage. But yeah. All right. Now, I do have quite a few Reaper points on this build. If I can open them up. I mainly went for the spell DCs. I picked up some power, some spell pen, charisma, of course. You notice I have only 1 point spent in these Reaper potencies and such. I just did this because I wanted to have more charges of the Reaper Strike for Double Strike. This build easily caps out Double Strike at 100% or probably even more. Let's see, standing, I'm 49% Double Strike. If I hit this, it's 20 morale bonus, so 69, and then you have the Reaper bonus for 30, so you're basically 99 plus whatever other bonuses you have going. There's probably some other thing, but you easily hit 100% Double Strike on this build, which helps with the damage, especially on those helpless targets if you manage to hit that Mass Hold or the Color Spray. Otherwise, it's just, I just went for defenses, con, dodge, all the good stuff. This build, because of the Bard songs, you end up with a lot of skills. Most of my skills are 45 or higher. Yeah, 43 is my lowest. It's swim, but I can just merfolks myself for 66. So you end up with a lot of skills on this build, which makes it very easy. Also, quality of life, haggle. You end up with a ton of haggle, so this makes Reaper Wings like 1,000,000 plat. And you can also sell for way more. Great life if you want to leave it at cap as kind of a support, maybe a raider, and just being able to buff people and provide CC. High Reapers, this does pretty well. The only thing it doesn't do is in the higher Reapers, you got to be careful about running into packs to get the chain attack off because you are squishy. You only end up with 130 PRR. Now, I don't have all the past lives. Probably not the most optimized gear for melee combat, but you're squishy. You're not designed to take a hit. You're designed to deal the hits. So it backfires occasionally. You get instances where the stray champion or something, or even a stray normal mob will three-shot you, like a troll combo. It happens. You just gotta be prepared for it. One of the things, though, I like defensively about this build is I do go into Primal Avatar for the Reborn in Fire, which, when you get the tier 3, gives you 25% uncapped dodge. I'm already sitting at 22, so close to 50% dodge, probably a little bit more once I get into Reaper. Um, but not bad. Not bad. It does have some survivability as far as walking up into the group, getting maybe the first 2 chains off, and then backing up and just acting as a healer, which is a wonderful thing to do with the spell crit, because Renew and Rejuve Cocoon auto critting on every tick is so strong for a healer. You can easily throw out 2,000-3,000 actual heals from the heal spell. You don't have a ton of heals, so I wouldn't say this is a dedicated party healer, but you can definitely save like the cleric or the tank if something happens to your party's main healer. So this is how I have the build set up for me. Personally, I just like the way that this feels. I've gotten very used to the rotation in it. But please, 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 take the build and run with it. If you like the idea of the offhand versatility for bursting damage for spell stuff, or if you think this would be a little bit better if you say went Swashbuckler, and you'd have 20% movement speed, if you could just get here. You could use a different weapon type. Maybe use hand axes and you make use of the swashbuckling with the orb and the offhand. Maybe you end up more as a spellcaster and you end up taking shout and stuff, and you just use the chain attack to proc the spell crit. However you decide to use it, please have fun with it. I've really loved this build so far. It's been a ton of fun. I've completed most of all of the expansions, Saltmarsh, all that, Sharn and all that, on like R8, R10, and held up pretty well. This character, I think, ends up with about 104 DCs on Hold Monster Mass. You could probably get 106. As far as my gearing goes, I will have a builder file with all of the gear in it, with actually the augments I'm using as well. I am missing one thing. I'm just wearing the Epic Ethereal Bracers right now. This actually needs to be whatever the Feywild Bracers are from Icemount Curse. I just haven't pulled them yet. You end up having a 2-piece summer set, which is kind of nice for missile deflection, and just a little bit more deception and damage. But these aren't bad, so it makes it work. A few things that might be a little harder to get about this build. I do end up with the Mage Right set, so the goggles and the cloak. And my charisma item is actually the ring from Vault of Night, because charisma 14 on it. I like that. The command is kind of nice. Mainly this is just my charisma item. I don't actually use the set from this. I end up wearing the part of the family set. If I had the legendary part of the family necklace, I would use it, but fortunately I don't. Vistani's Glory helps because you get the Holy DR, and the Holy Burst is kind of nice. The Crown of Summer also helps with just general melee power and such. This is probably interchangeable with any other Summer Helm if you want. It's not too picky about that. The Trinket I really like. It's quality charisma, quality double strike, greater heroism, which you don't really need because you're a bard and you give all the stab bonuses anyways. But it gives you your action boost enhancements. So I end up sitting with 11 haste boosts, which is really nice. You can usually make it to a shrine or anything before you run out of 10 and 11 boosts. You could probably even get more than this, but honestly, I didn't feel like I needed more. The orb is actually the minor artifact from the Feywild raid, so this might be a little bit harder to get to. You see I have Fear Eater in it. I don't think Fear Eater works in this. I was just trying it just to try it, but otherwise it's just kind of a nice orb. I do love the fact that it is a spring and a winter set, and this is where you end up getting the 2-piece spring set, that 10% artifact to missile deflection, because you have the bracers as well. As far as filigrees on this character,
this is best part.
I went with 2 of the Sanctified Fervor Reverberations for the +2 charisma. I'm just trying to max out charisma here. To hell and back, +2 charisma. I have both of these also in the orb of mine. And then I run a 3-piece autos in here, and I have a 1 autos charisma in my uh, flute or fiddle. Flute. I run prowess with this build because it feels really good. I like being able to action boost, Reaper Strike into haste boost when everything's held and get that 10 or 50 melee power for 10 seconds and then just rip through crowds. It's such a big power spike. Now, if I were to recommend this for somebody else, though, ideally you'd probably just go more spell DCs, maybe like Lunar Magic or something. You could toss that in there. Anything that would give you more enchantment DCs is good, or just DCs overall. If you need more spell points and you're taking this spellcaster route, that would work as well. Those 5 filigree pieces are essentially open if you have them. I just like personally prowess, so it just made it feel good. All right, so that's the build. I will have the builder file up for Matrim's DDO character builder on the description of this video, hopefully, with more details as far as item sets. There were a few augments I threw in that I didn't actually have yet. Essence of Litany and stuff, I don't really have that yet. I did have an exceptional +1 charisma augment, which is actually in my ring. Ideally, I would just switch that out for the augment you get from Epic Giant Hole Tour that's +1 exceptional to everything, but I just don't have it yet. I'll eventually go get it, but not high on my list. So if you're interested, please check it out. I would love to see other people's ideas on how they play around with this or maybe change it up. I know swashbuckling could be really good with this if you went hand axes. Class splits are also pretty good. I know if you're doing this exact build, you would have to use a +1 heart to get rid of the rogue levels from Shadar-kai. But if you were doing more of a melee damage oriented one, you could probably keep those 2 levels of rogue, grab evasion, and then go more into the swashbuckler tree for damage or something. I know guard breaking would be really good on this build as well because you end up hitting a lot of things with that chain. It's just another CC that you can apply, and everybody would love you for it. But I couldn't figure out a way to fit it in this build the way that I liked, and I personally really like the Vistani. So if you have any ideas or anything, feel free to share them, and let me know if you like the build. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. See you around.